All right. So whether you have the ball in your hands as you start to mindfully breathe, or you just kind of let your arms relax in a way that feels good, really feeling into your breath, feel down into your feet, maybe lifting toes, lifting heels, or just getting any little movements activating down into the lower body. Good. And then you're welcome to keep that ball in your hands and do a little squeezing activation thing here or rolling activation. Or if without the ball, of course, you've got a variety of things you can do to connect with your hands and kind of start to awaken them. If you have the ball and you would like to, put it down on the floor and you can start awakening the bottom of one foot by any degree of rolling or kind of pressure down through different parts of your feet into the ball. And just kind of stay with that, but then come back to your mindful breathing too, full and complete breaths. Good. And of course, if you're doing one foot, one side at a time kind of thing, then let's get it over to the other side. Feeling through your body and also really feeling your breath. Let's also start to awaken our eyes as we get more and more connected to our bodies here today. So blinking, open, close, noticing how your eyes are feeling. I noticed that there's maybe a bit more allergens in the air, especially for us here in northern Colorado after all the rains that we've got lately. Might be some extra or different things that are floating around. So check in on those eyes and see how they're feeling. And if they are feeling pretty good and we want to do a blink and then look way up and over to your right and then another blink and look way over to your left. Try not to move your head so much, but blinking open, looking right, blinking open, looking left. You can look to various other areas too, but that's a good place to start at least, and then come back to mindful blinking. And if you notice your eyes were a little sore, or there was some discomfort that came around with that, then be working on the blinking and making sure the eyes are comfortably moist or getting a rest when they need to here, okay? All right, I'm gonna just let the ball rest a little bit here as I plant both my feet on down to the floor. Coming back to the breath as it's sitting up nice and tall, let's do our shoulder rolls. And another focus I'd like to bring in for us today is the use of a affirmation, a word or two, or a whole phrase that you know feels true or right to you, and or it may be a phrase that is reminding you of your truth, of what you have discovered when you are feeling really connected and good about things. You know you've got these resources, and so it could just be a word like love or peace. It could be a whole phrase like, I am the light of love, or I am healing in this moment. Yeah, things like that. You can choose one of your own or just kind of feel what might be the best thing for you today as we do a few more of these shoulder rolls. Good. Sometimes it's really fun to work with a new mantra or affirmation. If the day is just so ready for that or whatever issue you might be dealing with in your life, making that affirmation really work for you through like a whole day. You might find that maybe a few days are needed, or you may have one that just kind of sticks with you for years and years and years, and you have that always to fall back on kind of thing. So make sure you got several of those in your toolbox that you can pull out anytime. But for now, let's keep our breath flowing full and complete. Go back down to the feet. Let's try with alternate heel to toe lifts on each side. And another few breaths. Good. And then after a little bit here, let's go ahead and plant from your heels all the way down through the toes and the rest of your feet, really feeling connected as you again sit upright nice and tall. Full breaths as you elongate and just turn your head slowly around to each side. And again, let's start that mindful blinking practice. And mindful blinking, if it's feeling right, to look over the shoulder that you are turning over and looking over and up, then blinking, and then turning to look the other way, really casting your gaze that way and up, and always come back to blinking and checking in with how things are feeling. One more time around to each side. Excellent. And then squaring off back to a centered off position here. Hands on your pelvis to detect any degree of pelvic tilting that is feeling doable for you now here in the warm-up phase of our class. Any degree of anterior tilt and posterior tilt that you'll feel the movement primarily in your low back area and, maybe this abdominal area as well, getting, compressed and then extended with each of those tilts. And then finally, let's go into a full upright seated position. That means as much of that neutral pelvis position as you can. And then the hands on the sides of your chair, helping you sit upright as tall as you can, feeling that strength and tone in your deep core as you start your side to side rocking, leaning with length off to one side and then the other. And perhaps you're going to use this movement to inch yourself a little further forward on your chair. Good. And remember, you also have this option of more of a kind of a side crunch, getting a similar effect as far as like getting one hip to lift a little bit and then the other one, but you are activating your body in a different way, allowing for more of that movement, which is extension and flexion or compression and extension on one side and then the other, much like what we did with the pelvic tilting. So just kind of see how that feels for you. And then again, let's land in that neutral pelvis, nicely balanced on your chair, again, sitting upright, nice and tall. Few more nice full complete breaths. Let's just focus on those breaths and try blending your affirmation word or phrase along with your breath for the next few moments. 3 is the magical number. No, more is usually even better though. Good. And just keep the energy of that affirmation in your being, in your breath, in your heart as we continue to warm up, focusing on the strength and tone of your deep core, slowly rocking back and forth. Feeling through how it's best for you. And maybe adding in some arm extensions and curls along with your slow controlled rocking motion. And then let's just get right on into a facial activation and a little vocal activation as we do a few more of these. We're just going to go heave, ho, heave, ho, heave, ho. One more time. Heave, ho. And then you can relax your arms on down, sit up tall, and allow for at least 3 full belly breaths to come through. Maybe bring in that affirmation right along with those breaths. Good. It shouldn't feel like a totally separate thing that you're doing when you choose to bring in your breath awareness and your affirmation. It actually becomes a part of you and the present moment and whatever you are doing. So, with that in mind, let's pick up our right leg, give it some lift. You might spend a little more time on your foot and or ankle movements here, seeing what feels best and maybe getting a little bit more activation through if at all possible. But then at some point, you can also start to engage the thigh muscles to extend at your knee and bend again at least 3 times, maybe a few more if it's working out okay. Maybe you need a few more to really get that knee to loosen up and get through a little bit more of its range of motion. And maybe that a little later in class we'll get a chance to revisit some of those things and you might find you can access a little bit more after some of this mindful movement and exploration. So sorry, I'm over to my left side now and focus on that ankle and foot a bit at least. These ankle circles that kind of lead with the energy of my toes really helped me and still do help me with my ongoing ankle rehabilitation. But you find what you think works best for you, and of course, what's pain free. Then, when you feel ready, if you want to do that extension at the knee and bend a few times or more if you need it. Good. And then when you feel complete, let's bend and lower. Left foot back on down. Sit upright nice and tall. Right arm finding a reach, finding that kind of extension that feels good. Easing through as much of your arm extension out of the shoulder. And then you can choose if you want to keep it with a shorter lever, supported in any way, or at a different angle, or maybe you can go to more elongation, more extension, and possibly more stretch if that feels good to you. Good. And then when we lower this arm down slowly with our exhalation, let's make the ooh sound as we lower this down. So get ready for circle lips. Here we go. Ooh. All the way through for you. What a great sound to be able to make, huh? So, feeling through your body, feeling centered, and breathing your way up through the left arm, finding extension. And of course, really being mindful because this side has different needs, very likely. And so you want to be able to provide that. That's a great way of honoring your body. Listen to and honor your body. You know, that's a big saying of mine. And I know for me, when I first started practicing yoga 25 years ago or so, when I was told to do that inquiry, it was really baffling to me for a while. You guys keep that left arm reaching all you want, and I'm letting there we go. Yes. So left arm getting whatever degree of support and or stretch that it needs so that feels good to you on this side. And on the way down with this arm, we're going to do ooh, and then, sorry, we did ooh, now we're going to do ah. Okay, so really get ready for that more ah, open sound. Here we go. Ah, all the way through, and then relaxing with your breath. And let's do some intentional swallowing once, twice, maybe even 3 times in a row. Really feeling that ability, practicing that very important functional ability. So you will have that with you as long as we can. We want that. All right, back down to the lower body, feeling down through the legs, the feet, the ankles. So you could be doing now either alternate heel lifts, alternate heel to toe lifts, or firing up those deep core muscles maybe a bit more to find your marching steps. Marching steps that can be well supported, balancing things out, finding as much of your rhythm here as you can. You might want to stay supporting, maybe do a little bit of wide stepping and then coming back to parallel. Or maybe you're ready to start that stomping, big stomp feet pretty equally down there into the surface beneath you as best you can, as long as it's not painful in the joints especially. And of course, you've got some upper body coordination if you can. You'd like to get those arms moving along with your marching legs. Stomping or going out wider for a little bit and then back in. Feeling your body though, starting to warm up, really activating some of the more large muscle groups in the body. Good. Finding your breath. And hey, even while we're trucking along, being really focused on this exercise, why don't we say to ourselves at least 1 or 2 rounds of our affirmation today? Breathe it through. Know that it's with you, no matter what you are doing. All right. How are you feeling? Starting to get those feelings of fatigue, a little warmth, maybe a little sore, maybe just feeling parts of your body that much more. So you'll know when you feel like, okay, that's good enough for now. I feel connected. I want to return to my natural, full, complete breaths and just settle through the body into relative stillness here as we breathe and refocus and kind of feel like we're here back at our center. Okay, so elongating up through the spine, if it helps you to rest one or both hands on top of your head and push your head up into your hands and keep it there, or sometimes you just might, make that magnetic ball of light that's hovering above your head that's trying to help you sit up as tall as you can, even as you let your arms relax down, maybe all the way down or maybe a little bit out to the side, elbows bent, because yes, we are going to start that slow rotation through the elongated spine, right along through your central channel. Try not to lean or hunch any direction out of that central channel. Breathing, turning, looking, blinking. What else can we add into this here? I know. How about the next time you turn to the right, say ooh, also blinking and turning and looking. And when you turn to the left, say ah. Then turn to your right, ooh, blinking, blinking, turn ah. One more time, turning right, ooh. And squaring off when you're ready and lowering those arms on down. You might want to roll through your shoulders, whatever would feel good, sitting upright, nice and tall. Okay, hands together now. Let's get a little bit more connected with the sensations of the palms and your fingers. And let's go ahead and do an interlace. The fingers any way you want to hear it for your first time, because we're going to go the opposite way next. So blooming flower, so you're starting to extend through each of your fingers as much as you can, one at a time, finding that full extension through, and then even opening at the wrists or at the palms of the hands. The wrists can still stay touching. Take a nice full inhalation, and as you exhale, say your mantra or your affirmation. And then it's like the energy is on those flower petals of your affirmation, and that's energizing the whole space around you as well. All right, bringing your hands back together here, and then let's do the opposite interlace. And finding that way that's engaging for you to slowly start to bloom and open each finger at a time. And as you're finding more extension and maybe starting to open the palms away from each other, let's say your affirmation statement or words again. Take a full breath cycle with it. And exhale, sprinkle that all around you. Maybe even kind of toss a few flower petals over you here so you're really taking all that goodness in. And then relaxing your arms on down to your sides. Well done. Okay, so picking up your right leg again. I would like to start with a point and a flex at the foot, then an extend and a bend at the knee, then any degree of opening out to the right, and then back. Let's do that again. Point, flex at the ankle, extend, bend at the knee, external rotation out, internal rotation in. Let's do that one more time with your right leg if that's working okay for you. Point, flex, extend, bend, open, forward, down. Okay, let's try the left side now. Give it a little lift and point, flex, extend, bend, open out, external rotation, internal rotation, and then let's do it again. And of course, if you want to put your foot down and take a rest in between these series of movements, please do, but join in whenever you can. Point, flex, extend, bend, open out, bring it in. And let's see, I think we have one more to go. I think I have one more to go. You may have already done your 3 rounds through on your side, so I'm going to complete mine here. Out and forward and down. Okay, so that's the series more or less. We're going to do one of the whole thing on the right and then a whole thing on the left. So right leg lifts, point, flex, extend, bend, open, forward and down to the left. Lift, point, flex, extend, bend, open out, open in, and bring it on down. Back to the right. Lift, point, flex, extend, bend, open out, forward, and down. Once again with your left. Lift, point, flex, extend, bend, out, in and on down. Well done. Okay, so next let's do a arm reach. Let's just do our right arm again here. We're going to reach whatever way that works well for you here. Opening up towards the sky or whatever angle you know works for you. Wake up all your right fingers while you're up there holding that extension. And as we lower the arm down, let's do, we're going to say yee, yee, yee. So Y-E-E 3 times in a row, lowering this arm down. Here we go. Yee, 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 all the way down. That's good. Kind of a little tricky to control your vocal cords and make that sound with your face, the expression on your face too. So good little challenge there. Let's do some reaching with your left arm, finding any degree that feels good. And then moving through all those left fingers. Good. And then get ready. We're going to say yo, 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 Y-O-O, 3 times as we lower this arm down. Here we go. Yo, yo, yo. Good. Now let's lift up through the right arm. And here we go with yee. Yee, yee, yee. Reach with your left. Inhaling. Yo, yo, yo. Good. Now, if it's comfortable for you and can reach both arms up to any degree that feels good, we're going to say yee, yo, yee, yo, yee, yo. Each one of them together. Here we go. Yee, yo, yee, yo, yee, yo. And a yippee, yippee, yee, yee. Since we're all warmed up for it. Yippee, yippee, yee, yee. I think Cheyenne Frontier Days is still going on up there in Wyoming too, if I am thinking right. It's at least it was happening last week, and I think it's still happening this week. Anyway, you'll probably let me know. You guys are sometimes more informed than I am. Thanks. All right, back down to activating the lower body a little bit here. And when you feel ready, let's do actually a plant the feet and rock back and forth slowly. And then the next time you're rocking up or back, lift your right foot, point, flex, extend, bend, open, forward, down, rock forward, rock back, flex, point, extend, bend, open, forward, and down. So you could either add those things in, or if it just wants to keep your rocking going a little more rhythmically, then lifting one leg and the other a little bit or a lot as you rock up or back to any degree. I think I'm going to add in those more intricate, fine motor, kind of more fine movements in with my rocking one more time on each side. And then coming back to any kind of either still upright position or maybe just really planting down through both feet and still rocking and feeling both sides of your body working together as best you can. That's it. Very good. Then sitting upright nice and tall. Let's again bring our awareness into the breath, deep belly breaths. Good. And then we're going to get things activated again with any kind of rhythmic marching steps that you can maintain here for a little bit, and possibly adding in some more crazy things to make it that much more stimulating for your nervous system, that much more of a challenge that we can at least attempt to do, even though we may not do it all the way through. I'm not quite sure if I'm even going to be able to, but we're going to try. So, couple marching steps, yee yee. Couple out wider marching steps, yo yo. Couple more in, yee yee, yo yo, yee yee, yo yo, yee yee, yo yo, yee yee, yo yo. Now separate your feet a little bit wider, maybe even to the point where you get a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. Planting both feet, toes pointing in the same direction your knees are pointing towards, sitting upright nice and tall, lengthening over towards your right, supporting yourself with your right arm somehow here, and starting to reach through your left side to whatever degree feels good to you, taking some nice full breaths. Please hold for a few more breaths. Say your affirmation to yourself. And then as we inhale, we'll come upright a little bit more. And as you exhale, let's say, yes, Y-E-S, yes. Kind of, what a great affirmation statement. Yes. Or one that we've used before in the past is, yes, I can, if you want to add a little bit more oomph to it. But even just the word yes, it's great, especially when you're saying it to yourself. Okay, feet are still wide if this is comfortable. Sitting upright nice and tall, lengthening over towards your left, finding a supportive way to place your arm or your hand here, and keep the breath flowing, finding any extension or stretch through your right side that you can here. Breathing, and again, say your affirmation. And then again, it's the inhale and then up and down with the yes, long and drawn out. So here we go. Inhale, yes, yes. And then lengthening back at your center. You can bring those legs and feet on in. Okay, so we're going to get back to some marching steps, if that's okay. Now, I was doing my marching steps, so I was stepping out wider first with this foot or leg, so your left side. So this time, let's try to switch it so the opposite foot is stepping out first. So if you're mirroring me, it's your right side. So when you're ready, we kind of start those marching steps, and then you go out, out, in, out, out, in. So what's our vocalization we're going to do this time? I'm open. Let's say woo, woo, wah, wah, woo, woo, wah, wah, woo, woo, wah, wah, woo, woo, wah, wah. Keep your feet wide, sit up nice and tall, find your breath. And finding that sense of center and balance. Now, actually, I think this would be a really good time to take a hydration break, and then we'll come back to this position or whatever, however it works best for you on your chair. So strong in your deep core, knowing where you are, and getting that good hydrating liquid in with your very good, complete swallowing. And I guess the body is saying, yes, yes, thank you. I do appreciate that. When you're ready, coming back to a good position on your chair, because this time we're going to explore our open lunge seated version here. And that might mean that for you, going to a different part of your chair so you can get comfortable leg positions that work for you. And this could be anywhere from just tapping your left heel out a little bit more in front of you, or any degree out to the side, any angling out of the hip with your leg and foot that feels good. Just make sure all the joints agree with that placement, and know that you can always just stay in this wide angle position like we did before. All right, good. And of course, some of you, we're well warmed up now. And if you feel like getting up and standing and going behind your chair to do the same kind of thing in a standing position, please do give yourself permission to do that if it feels safe to you. And so you've got your right knee bent, foot planted, right hand can be somewhere on the side there on your thigh, anything that's going to help you when we do take that long lengthened lean. But let's start first by lengthening upward, arms out in the opposite direction. Take a nice full inhale. Then as you exhale, start to lengthen over to your right and reach through your left to any degree that feels good. Another full breath, maybe your affirmation. Then inhale, coming upright, stay put there if that's okay, and reach out through both sides again. Maybe also turn your head and look over your right arm out. Feel strong in your foundation, looking out over the horizon that way. Inhale and exhale. You can bring those arms on down and just help yourself come back to a more centered, squared off position here as we do either some marching steps, even those of you that are standing with this, you could do those marching steps, or alternate heel lifts. Good. And then let's start to work out. Well, we could do a little bit of marching step, but then let's march out wider and then plant those feet so you can shift your body on your chair seat any way that helps you find your open lunge position that feels right for you on this side. Again, check in with all the joints. Yeah, it's great to feel like you're getting some stretch through here. And especially if you're seated, you can kind of relax into that stretch because you got the great support of the chair. Now, if you're doing this pose in the standing position, you want to feel very engaged and all these leg muscles, inner thighs included, and of course your deep core. So you feel your left foot is planted down on there on the floor, good and strong, lengthening up through your spine, reaching up and out. Inhale. And as you exhale, lengthen over towards your left. Use your left arm for support and your right arm for any degree of reach up through your right side body. Take another full breath. Good. And then inhale your way up with all that length. Maybe you're both those arms once again stretching out in opposite directions and turning your head to look over to the left. And again, you might say your mantra, your affirmation here. Yes. All right. Exhaling when you are ready to lower those arms on down and help support your body, your legs, everything coming back to a more squared off centered position. Excellent. Very, very good. Okay. Back to the pelvic tilting that I'd love for us to start also activating and moving through the rest of your spine. So, tilting the pelvis back, you're tucking your chin down, maybe also reaching your hands towards your knees to really help the back body extend and open. Then lengthen up and through, tilting your pelvis forward. Try looking up. Maybe you're blinking exercises along with your eyes, looking right, looking left, and also your hands coming up towards the tops of your thighs. So you're broadening across your chest and shoulders. And then let's go back and forth now through your seated cat-cows, spending as much time as you can, really moving into each of these positions. Good. And next few cat cows, say your affirmation to yourself. It's kind of fun when you're complete saying it one time and you're looking up to the sky, kind of feeling the expansiveness of that energy. And then as you say it again and you're looking down towards the floor, towards your body, towards your legs, that's a great time to also take it in because you are all of that and so much more. And then finally, when you feel ready, coming into your neutral pelvis, elongating all the way up and out through your spine. Well done. All right, picking up that right leg again. And we're gonna do a hip opening pose, like figure four of some sort here next. So feel like you're preparing that hip and eventually your knee and your ankle too, to find that angle and the support that works for you to land in your figure four pose for today. Different angles, different levels that your body might prefer, having your foot supported downward a little bit more than all the way up onto your opposite thigh. Still get a good hip opening stretch by choosing this option, and oftentimes less torque on the knee joint, maybe also on your ankle joint. Of course, you always want it to feel good for your hip joint because that's what we're focusing on. And of course, all of the connective tissues around this important structure of the hip and pelvic area. So, finding your breath. Maybe you've settled into a position that you know really is good for you, and you just stay there and breathe, and maybe do any other little movements or connections that feel good. Changing the angle, whatever you feel you need. And then we are going to incorporate some more eye yoga into our practice here. And you can decide if you want to do that while you're still holding your figure four position, if that's quite comfortable and you can really focus on some of this eye stuff, or if you're ready to put that foot back on down and sit tall in a squared off position while we do the eye stuff. That is perfectly fine too. Okay, so looking outward, or really you could look at whatever the direction that your head is pointing in, and imagine a big clock, big, huge, enormous clock out there, 5 or 6 feet out there in front of you. And I want you to start to trace your clock. At 12 o'clock, we'll start there, and then go to 1 o'clock, blinking in between, then go to 2 o'clock, and then go to 3 o'clock, and then 4, then 5, and 6 o'clock, so you might be able to see the tip of your nose, and 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10, 11, blinking all you need to, and 12, looking up. Good. And then let your eyes relax or just blink or whatever would feel good. If your hands are free and you want to do a little eye soothing, cupping your hands over your eyes, or little gentle presses on the bony structure around your eyes, whatever you like here. Just kind of letting that absorb and soothe and come on in. Okay, we can spend the last few moments in your figure four if you're still in it. And then when you feel ready, you can place that right foot of yours on down. And if you like the use of props, make sure that's handy for you as we start to prepare our left hip for that hip opening stretch. And then finding your way, exploring, supporting, listening to, and honoring your body and what it's telling you, which may be different on this side. So honor that fact and find your way, what's going to work best for you here today. So mainly just focusing here on nice full complete breaths and that kind of stretch that feels best for you, especially in this hip pelvic area here. Might be feeling other stretches too up into the low back area or maybe your inner thigh, but do pay attention to your knee joint, your ankle, and change your angle if you're getting any pain, pressure, that kind of thing in those joints. Also taking advantage of being in contact with these parts of the body that we often have way down below and not really paying attention to them. So here we can massage, squeeze, whatever feels good. Yes. And again, I'd like you to decide if you can do another round of eye yoga with me and stay in your figure four position comfortably, or coming out of it is fine as well. Then you can focus. So this time, I'd like you to try to move your big giant clock in a little closer to you. And then this time we're going to start at 12 and we're going to go back in counterclockwise rotation here. So picture your big, wide, circular clock not too far in front of you there. So you're really having to look up without moving your head, looking up with just your eyes and seeing that 12 o'clock and then going to 11. Blinking in between is good. 10, 9, try not to turn your head. 8, 7, starting to see that downward view. 6, maybe you can see the tip of your nose or at least some of the lower body here. Not turning your head though. 5 o'clock and 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2, 1, and back to 12. Looking up and then relax your eyes or blink or soothe in any way that would feel good after that. Ah, good. I think it's kind of fun to imagine that you can control the direction that your clock is going in. We think of this traditional having to go clockwise, and for good reasons to some point. But they say that time is a construct that humans have just made up, and that there's really no reason why time has to just only go forward from here to there. There's no reason why it couldn't go backward or another direction that we don't even identify yet. So, training the eyes to kind of do something like this is kind of like reminding ourselves, like of our neuroplasticity abilities. We get these deep grooves going because we've been thinking in one way for a long, long time, and we keep thinking those ways, and that's what feels right. But then we learn something new, or something else is revealed, and then we're working that neuroplastic ability of the brain and the nervous system to start to make new constructs, new nerve pathways that support that. Interesting stuff. Okay, let's do our mindful transition series next. So get in your block if you want, really activating things from the foundation and up. Foundation is obviously legs, feet, and deep core, making sure all of that is on and in good position for you, whether you want to stay in your chair and work these parts of the series that you know are really helpful and very safe, staying in the chair. And or if you do want to move to those slightly lifted out of your chair positions, with the chair dip with strong arms and strong core, or especially if you're going into the squat position, really know your foundation, your feet positioning, that strength of your legs, inner thighs, deep core, holding your squat, supporting yourself in any way you need to, and always return slow and controlled back on down to your chair. Excellent. So let's work our mindful transition series. You can do every one of the parts of the series over again, or you might be focusing on, concentrating on one particular part that you really know is worthwhile in practicing and concentrating on. And I'd love for whatever you are doing, as long as you're feeling safe, of course, and if you're not feeling safe, please get into a position where you do feel safe and say your affirmation statement. Feel strong, feel centered, feel confident in your ability to move yourself on the chair wherever you want to be, to come out of the chair when you need to whatever degree, coming all the way up into a standing position if that's what you feel is needed, or you can use this to transition from your chair down to the floor. So taking your time every step of the way and using all that great awareness that you've been cultivating here, the strength that you've been gaining and cultivating through this regular practice, and knowing how to support yourself the best to get yourself into a more horizontal position if that feels right for you today, or if you're choosing to stay in your chair, making that feel really right for you. Now, I can tell you though that one of the first things that I'm going to recommend when you get more settled is a forward folding position of some sort. So if you're staying in your chair, you might be grabbing your bolster and rounding over that, relaxing over into your seated forward fold. Or if you're going to be going to the floor, then I would suggest hugging, just try maybe one knee at a time in to your chest, and maybe lengthening the other one out if that feels good, or hugging both knees into the chest at the same time, maybe doing a little bit of gentle rocking with that, like side to side rocking, not up and down rocking, but side to side, if that feels good. Or again, if it's better to just do one leg at a time, you can switch over to hugging the opposite knee in. Remember, there's also happy baby pose, which is a great uh, supine stretch that also really tests your hip flexibility. So that is bringing your knees kind of more towards your shoulders and flexing the soles of your feet towards the ceiling, supporting them there, or you can reach your hands up. Some people like to grab a hold of their toes as they hold that pose, or the outer edges of the feet. Or if you can't reach them, that's okay too. You can just grab your shins, calves, knees. And then after a few more breaths, if you are feeling ready to slowly come out of your forward folded position, engage through your deep core to help support as you either come up out of your seated forward fold or lower your feet back down to the floor if you're in the horizontal position, coming out of your forward fold. Okay, so next, I'm going to suggest a spinal twist, a gentle, longer held spinal twist. So if you're on the floor, try stretching your arms out in opposite directions. So you're broad across your chest and shoulders, and you're going to keep that connection. And then with your legs and knees close together, you can start to draw your knees over to your left. You might have a prop or some other kind of support over there to the left of your legs to let them rest on. Those of you sitting in the chair, sit upright, nice and tall, and rotate your chest and shoulders to one side and let your arms support you in that rotated position. All of us taking nice, full, complete breaths and massaging all those great internal organs through the abdominal cavity. And again, let's say our mantra, affirmation. And as we get more and more relaxed, as we're cooling down here and connecting with our breath again, and saying that powerful statement or words that that we have identified for ourselves, just see if there's any other places in the body that affirmation lands, or if it creates an effect at all at any part of your body. Like for me, I find like the slightest bit of a smile just kind of naturally comes to my face after I've said my affirmation. But yours could be something very different, but just kind of paying attention to that effect. Few more breaths in your spinal twist. Maybe you're already ready to come out of it, but taking your time whenever you do, taking a moment back at a centered, squared off position, And then making that slow movement to the opposite side of your spinal twist. Just giving yourself support to hang out there comfortably, relax, breathe deeply, releasing and relaxing through your neck as much as you can, and saying your affirmation. Stay as long as you would like here. And of course, when you feel complete and ready, you can make your way on out back to your squared off position and going through any little adjustments or movements or other stretches that might feel really good for you as you take these last few moments to move, to stretch, to attend to your body in any way that feels good. And also thinking about getting yourself situated and supported for our relaxation practice for today. Taking all the time you need. And I have a nice visual and background imagery and sounds for you in our relaxation today. And I'll be doing a little guiding as well. Your only job is to find that most comfortable, supported, relaxed position that feels so right to you. You can hear the sounds of the river, feeling that crisp, moist air along the sides of this river. Breathing it in fully and completely. Relaxing and letting go of any heaviness, any pressure, any stress, and knowing that the river and the energy around is taking that away and down, out, completely out of your system. In your mind's eye, you can imagine the sunlight sparkling on the flowing waves around the rocks. Letting your gaze concentrate on just one small portion of the flowing river. Seeing the continuous flow, so soothing, so grounding, and reminding you that all things come and go. So let yourself just be here and now, taking in everything just as it is. How do you feel? Just going with the flow, allowing things just to pass through you. Not clinging or grasping, not trying to prevent the flow. Allowing yourself to go along with it. At some point, you might even find yourself magically flowing along down the river, effortlessly, smoothly, being one with the flow and the water. Some point, you again find yourself magically sitting on the bank of this river, You're feeling cleansed and renewed. So connected in this present moment. All that is just as it is. And starting to feel your way back into your body with gentle movements and your breath. Eventually opening your eyes and blinking, feeling the air upon your skin and the legs and the arms, the feet and the hands, feeling more and more connected until you feel ready to make your way on up into your upright seated position, comfortable, well supported, feeling the effects of your river meditation and the remembering of your affirmation statement and bringing that all with you, gathering it up with your hands coming in close to your heart center, taking a few more mindful breaths, and maybe one more time with your affirmation statement. And so much gratitude. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. Namaste.